Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 8th grade concept of using the Pythagorean Theorem. This is standard 8.7c in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 23 off the 2025 released STAAR test. This is a new item type called drag and drop. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we've got two different blanks here, and this is a 2-point problem, so we need to make sure that we put an answer into each of these. Notice that you can only use each answer once, so that's important to know. And if you try to move on with only filling in one blank, you are going to get that error message. All right, so we've got a kite here, which is a type of quadrilateral, in which you've got two sides that are adjacent, that are parallel, two sets of that. And we need to find the missing lengths of V. Okay, so V is this one right here. And then a missing side length of P. All right, and we're supposed to just use our kind of knowledge of right triangles, and what's going to be incredibly important is to know that these are right triangles, right? So we can take a look at what we have in the middle here. And we see this, we've got this right angle. And basically, we can just see this as four right triangles that are connected. And so when I think of a right triangle, I should be thinking of my Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's going to be extremely important because we can use that, if it's a right triangle, to find missing side lengths. Now, what we do need to keep in mind is what is our A, what is our B, what is our C. These two are the legs. So the legs of a right triangle are the sides that come off or form the right angle. The hypotenuse is the diagonal, if you want to think of it like that. That is across from the right angle, and that is going to be our C. Let's see if we can get that spelled correctly. And so our hypotenuse is going to be that C. And so if you square the two legs and you square the hypotenuse, you will get equal amounts. Okay. So let's look at the red one first. What do we know here? Well, I've got V is one of my legs. We're going to call this A. We're going to call this B, and we're going to call this C, at least for that triangle. And so V is what we're looking for. So let's say V squared plus B, I've got a value. So we're going to put 8 squared equals C, I have a value, 10 squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify. V squared plus 64 equals 100. We're going to use the subtraction property of equality. We're going to subtract 64 from both sides. And we are going to get V squared equals 36. Now, we're going to need to not use 36. That's not our answer, because that's V squared. Now, in order to get rid of that squared, you need to take the square root. So technically, it could be plus or minus 6, but we're not going to have negative sides. So in this context, only the positive makes sense. It is going to be 6. So V is 6. And that's how we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Let's go ahead and put that right there. Let's do our same thing now with our key. And let's label them. And you know what? I can go ahead and just make this long middle side right here. I can make that A for this triangle right here. So I've already got my B. I'll keep that 8 as my B. And then in this case, he is my hypotenuse. Okay, so A squared plus B squared equals C squared. My A has a value of 15. My B has a value of 8. And then my C is my P. So I can go ahead and just make that my P if I want to. All right, so 15 squared is 225. 8 squared is 64 equals P squared. So that is going to be 289 equals P squared. And if you want, you can go ahead and take your square root. You might know that, but let's just go ahead and use our calculator here. 289. What do we have? 17. All right. So we have 17 as our answer. That's our square root, and that's how we get both points.